Let me start with a situation that probably feels uncomfortably familiar. You're driving to work, maybe traffic is worse than usual, maybe you're already stressed, and then it happens. That little warning light turns on, the one you pretend not to see. Your stomach tightens because you already know what it means.
You're not thinking, how do I fix this? You're thinking, how long can I get away with ignoring it? Because fixing it today might cost a few $100s, and your bank account says you don't have a few $100s. So you do what millions of people do. You turn the music up, you convince yourself it's probably nothing, and you hope.
Fast forward a few weeks, or a couple months. That probably nothing turns into a breakdown, on the highway, in the rain, late for work. Now you're paying for a tow. Now the original issue damaged something bigger. Now you're missing shifts. Now the problem that started as "I can't afford this right now" has snowballed into a financial emergency you definitely can't afford. That isn't bad luck. That isn't irresponsibility. That is what happens when money problems compound. And that's what this video is about.
My name's Marcus, and I spend an unhealthy amount of time thinking about why it feels like some people can breathe financially, while others feel like they're one mistake away from drowning. If you work hard, stay busy, and still feel like your money never actually gets ahead, this video is for you. Because today, we're not talking about side hustles, investing hacks, or overnight success. We're talking about something much uglier: why being broke is shockingly expensive.
Here's where most financial advice goes wrong. It tells you that wealth comes from discipline and poverty comes from bad habits. That if you just cut coffee, cancel streaming services, or be more responsible, everything would magically improve. But that explanation falls apart the moment you look at the math. There's a well-known economic concept that explains this better than motivational quotes ever could. When you don't have money, you're forced to make choices that cost you more over time.
Not because you're careless, because cheaper options are often traps. Think about it this way. Someone with money can afford durability. Someone without money is forced to rent solutions over and over again. One person buys something once, the other keeps paying forever.
This shows up everywhere in daily life. Let's start with something boring: household basics. If you have spare cash, you can buy in bulk. Big packs, lower price per unit, fewer trips. If you don't, you're stuck buying the smallest option available at the highest price. Same product, different cost, just because of timing and liquidity. That gap adds up quietly month after month. And the less money you have, the higher your personal inflation rate becomes.
Now let's talk about banks. If you keep a healthy balance, the system rewards you. No fees, preferential treatment, maybe even a tiny bit of interest. But if you're struggling, one forgotten charge, one mistimed payment, and suddenly you're hit with penalties that are wildly disproportionate to the mistake.
Borrow a few dollars for a day and get charged dozens in fees. If any individual did that, we'd call it predatory. When institutions do it, it's labeled policy. And those fees don't come from wealthy customers. They come almost entirely from people who are already stretched thin. Money flows upward, quietly, automatically.
There's another layer to this that rarely gets discussed: your brain. When money is tight, your mind narrows. Research shows that financial stress reduces your ability to think long-term. Your attention gets hijacked by immediate survival. You're not stupid. You're overloaded. That's why people under financial pressure make choices that seem irrational from the outside: high-interest loans, short-term fixes, expensive conveniences. It's not poor character. It's cognitive bandwidth running out. And this isn't just about money. It's about time. If you have resources, life is efficient. If you don't, everything takes longer. Think about basic chores, transportation, food access, laundry. What takes one person 10 minutes can take another 2 hours, not because they're slower, but because the infrastructure around them is worse. And time is the one thing you can't save later.
When poverty eats your time, it also eats your future earning potential. Cars are a perfect example. Someone with savings and decent credit buys reliability, lower interest, fewer repairs, predictable costs. Someone without those things pays inflated prices, higher rates, and constant breakdowns, all while still needing the car just to keep their job. You end up paying more for something that delivers less. That's not coincidence. That's risk pricing, and escaping it requires money you don't yet have. Housing works the same way. Renting is often the only option, but it's the most expensive one long term. Higher monthly costs, no ownership, no appreciation. Owning requires upfront capital, the very thing high rent prevents you from building. So you stay trapped paying more for less stability. It's not a lack of effort, it's a locked door. So what do you do with this information? First, stop blaming yourself. Understanding this changes the narrative from "I'm bad with money" to "I'm paying structural penalties." Second, stop trying to get rich as your first move. The real goal early on is stopping the leaks. The best return on investment for someone under pressure isn't the stock market. It's eliminating high-interest debt, fixing problems early, buying reliability instead of replacements. The single most powerful tool in this fight is what I call the buffer. That first chunk of savings, even a small one, changes everything. It turns emergencies into inconveniences. It lowers insurance costs. It unlocks better options. Money doesn't just buy things. It buys better math. And yes, it's tempting to use that first bit of breathing room for comfort. That's human. But every durable purchase, every repair done early, every fee avoided is a step out of the trap. You're not spending, you're removing future penalties.
Here's the action step. Audit your life for poverty taxes. Where are you paying extra because you don't have flexibility? Fees, interest, temporary fixes, time sinks. Pick the biggest one and attack it relentlessly. Extra work, selling unused stuff, cutting ruthlessly for a short period, not as punishment, but as strategy. You're not hustling for more money. You're buying your way out of a system designed to drain you. The climb from zero is brutal, but once you understand the mechanics, you stop internalizing the shame and start targeting the math. You stop playing defense. You start choosing permanence over patches. And slowly, pair by pair, you climb out. If this video gave you language for something you felt but couldn't explain, share it with someone who needs it. We talk about success all the time. We don't talk enough about the traps. Subscribe if you want more breakdowns like this. No hype, just clarity. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.